Hi, this is Wishop, and this is your Ching reading for March of 2019 as part of the first quarter divination set. So you've got lots of choices to mix and match based on the style of divination you like, and I'm happy to say that a bunch of different messages and kinds of messages have come through. So that's been really good. So hopefully there'll be something that has something to offer you. So the I Ching kind of builds. So I do want to bring in the other months. This was January, Resoluteness. This was February, the Wanderer. So related to these, this is really setting a course and pursuing it with deliberation in the short form. And what I got for March when I rolled the dice was opposition, 38. So this is fire over lake. So you see here's the top trigram, which is lake here, and the top trigram here, which is fire. And now these two are combined in opposition. And this is seen often like two women in the same house. And the reason that it is two women in the same house is because the idea is almost that they are so much the same that they're having problems harmonizing, that it's actually creating disharmony. And so here, I should read you these. The keywords are opposite viewpoints, personal differences, a communication gap, disharmony, misunderstandings, and estrangement. Now that sounds pretty scary, but the other book says it's lucky if it's a small matter. And I think as it leads out of these issues, you probably set a course with great resoluteness. Here we have this monk, here we have this monk. These are sort of lone characters. And here you take this converted self, or this new person you are, or this new development that you're into, and you take it into what is often a domestic situation, back into your home, back into your workplace. You're carrying this transformed person into this place, and now it doesn't quite harmonize. You might be rather different than people used to know. They might strike you as rather different. I thought I would read from the Tao Oracle book. Here we go. By Ma Devapadma. Opposition can be a profound learning experience when it leads to the understanding that differences do not have to create breakdowns. In fact, all apparently opposing forces highlight the unique qualities, the strengths as well as the weaknesses of each other. Let's see, I'm going to sort of scoot ahead. When we find ourselves in a state of mind contrary to the opinions of another, both parties need to back away from the argument to gain a broader perspective. Headbutting is not just exhausting, it creates all kinds of headaches and unnecessary complications. Cutting off from someone because they're different or because you don't agree with their opinion simply shuts the door of cooperation that could provide insight and result in a breakthrough. Once you label a person as quote-unquote impossible, you're cheating everyone, especially yourself. Excluding the difficult is never a solution because it prevents any real understanding of the challenges to be faced and simply prolongs the discord. The intelligent approach is first to define a neutral ground and then come together on it. It may be difficult to do so, but if you persevere, it will be more than worth the effort and can bring unexpected benefits. So I thought that was a really good selection there, because the idea here is that two people perhaps who were the same now come together again and I think are not the same. And they're not the same because there's been some profound change. And this means that you could look at this other person with whom you shared a domestic situation, with whom you shared a very close relationship, partnership, friendship. It could even be a romantic relationship, of course, because you're not peas in a pod anymore. You used to be peas in a pod where everything was complementary or harmonious, but this profound journey you've been on has made you different. And the question is, how will that now work in this relationship? Can this relationship tolerate, withstand the differences now? Can those differences be put aside enough that these two parties can appreciate each other? And I think the point that was made in the Tao Oracle book about defining a neutral ground is very important, because I think culturally right now, people have not left themselves much neutral ground. They have said, in every forum of life, from home to the store, to the library, to the cubicle, to the, sitting in the car, to what I listen to what I eat and drink and consume, in every single way, none of it is neutral. All of it has to express some position, some standpoint. All of it must be defended or asserted in a really vigorous way. And that is exhausting. I mean, it really is exhausting to feel that every single decision of your day has to be something that you're going to fight with someone about, or that they want to fight with you about, or that someone wants to confront you about. And so I really feel like the idea that your journey is leading you to places that other people aren't necessarily going to understand. Can you establish neutral ground? So not only if they disagree with you, can you sort of create a boundary where there's some neutral ground where you say, I realize what I'm doing isn't what you're doing. That's fine. Can we create a safe space between us where I can just be and you can just be, and we don't have to persuade each other or evangelize each other or convince or berate each other? Can we create a safe, neutral ground for us to be in? So this might be the case. If you're involved in something passionately, it may be that you're bringing that into a lot of close domestic relationships and you're getting some pushback, like, I really don't want to be a part of this change. And then you have to decide if that's okay with you. Because it may be that it's very important to you that every relationship that you're involved with is somebody who is also on a similar journey. But it might be okay that you have some people who are on a similar journey, and then you have other people with whom you establish a kind of loving neutrality that says, I love you the way you are. So you do you, and I'm going to do me, and let's try to appreciate each other, and let's reduce the level of friction. So it could also be the case that you've done something, you've made some big change, you now are in this very close, this obviously looks like a very close, intimate relationship of some sort. So it could be with a family member, obviously could be romantic, could be with children, with best friends. Whatever this change is has taken you kind of far away. And it may be that you come back to this situation, or you find in this situation, this other person is now butting heads with you. They don't see why you had to change. They wish that you didn't. They wish that you could just go back the way things were. Like, can't you just go back to how things were? And the question is, can you find a new level of neutrality that doesn't pretend that this important change in you and in your life hasn't happened? It doesn't deny the changes that you've made, but at the same time, it doesn't introduce a constant level of friction and conflict. And as the book itself said, this is not necessarily easy to do. These are the complicated dances of human relations. But if this change is important to you, and if it's equally important to you to have a harmonious situation, whatever this is, whatever this relationship is, then you have to find a way. And this kind of level of mutual respect that does not turn other people into enemies or into being judged as impossible. They're impossible, like I was reading in the selection. They're impossible, so forget it. We just disregard them and we throw them away. Or people decide, you're impossible. I just can't deal with you. I just can't even. And then they throw you away. Is there a way, or what are the options to keep people, not to throw them away, not to turn them into garbage because we disagree or they disagree, not to turn everything into not to try to treat each other like clay, where we're constantly trying to mold the other person into a shape that's more congenial to what we want, but give each other the breathing room to grow. It's not easy. It's definitely not. But for relationships that have been redefined with these new levels of respect and creating a neutral ground, these relationships can be so strong later because you know that you can rely on that person, not because they agree with everything about you, but because they've made a commitment to you at a deeper, more fundamental level than that, that says, you know, you're more than just what your dietary choices are or who you're voting for or what your spiritual path is. You're more than that. You're a multifaceted, complete person, and I'm going to have to take all of you. And I think that's, that requires a great deal of love. It does. Love for yourself, to be able to face a person's disapproval and not feel judged all the time, and a great deal of love for them, to be able to find that accepting middle ground and to create that neutral place that is comfortable and nurturing for both of you. So that's what I see in this one. It's kind of big, but if you're making big transformations, if you've made some serious transformations, the ripple effects are supposed to be big. It is supposed to, when you change your life, it really is supposed to change your life. So anyway, hope you found that interesting, and thanks a lot for watching, and rock on with your bad selves.